Hi there, I'm Marc Pagani and this is Tasting Tuesdays. Welcome back to Tasting Tuesdays. Today we're going to be looking at Eagle Rare from Buffalo Trace Distillery. First things first, if you like these videos, please do subscribe by pressing the little button, the little logo right down there. And if you want to get directly to the tasting and skip all my BS in the beginning, you're welcome to go right here to this spot in the video. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about a little bit about this bottle. Eagle Rare is a bottle that I used to get relatively often back in around 2010. I remember going skiing in Park City, and the little grocery store that we went to, the only decent bottle they had was Eagle Rare, and I liked it back then. Back then it did have a single barrel label on it, and it was a 10-year. It is still 10-year now, but they've moved the 10-year age statement to the back, and it's no longer stated as a single barrel, and I'll get into the reason for that later. The reason I'm reviewing this is because it has recently been allocated, and it is generally harder to find in some markets. Here in New Orleans, it's very easy to find. It's on every shelf. I paid $30 for it. That's the retail. That's how much it should cost. But I'm seeing on some of the Facebook forums, whiskey forums, that it's tougher to find in some markets right now, and therefore people are, going out and seeking it out and paying big money for it and hunting for it. And like I always say, allocated does not mean amazing. I've been saying that for a while, and I haven't bought Eagle Rare in a very long time. Just because it's like, it's on the shelves all the time. I can get it when I want it. And it's not, I had in my head that it's not an amazing whiskey. It's nothing that I need to have on my bar. But, I saw it today and I figured I should probably do an actual real tasting of it. And maybe I'll like it even more than I used to. Maybe what I thought about it was true, and that I don't need to have it on my bar on a regular basis. So let's get into a little bit of information about Buffalo Trace's Eagle Rare. Eagle Rare 10-year straight Kentucky bourbon whiskey. It should retail for $29 to $33, and it's 90 proof. It comes from Buffalo Trace Distillery. Eagle Rare uses the #1 mash bill from Buffalo Trace, which is thought to be a low rye mash bill consisting of 10% or less rye. It's 10-year age stated. Eagle Rare recently went through a label design change which moved the 10-year age statement from the bottleneck to the back of the bottle. They also removed the single barrel statement from the bottle altogether. Buffalo Trace stated that because of the move from a hand bottling line to a high-speed automated line, they can no longer use a single barrel statement. This is due to the fact that a bottle could technically contain a bourbon from two different barrels when the line switches from one barrel to the next. It is currently allocated, and it's harder to find in some markets. All right, now that you've been properly educated on what Eagle Rare is, it's time for some whiskey porn. That looked pretty tasty, didn't it? So let's find out if it actually is tasty. Open this up. Just bought this here in New Orleans today. And it's got a nice amber color. It is 10 years old, so it should have a little bit of color to it for sure. Let's see what we have here. Well, on the nose, I'm definitely smelling like marshmallow peeps, those peeps that you get during Easter, like marshmallow peeps that have sat out under the sun for a little while. They really get kind of a little bit melty, and you really get a little bit more of that marshmallowy, but kind of a processed marshmallowy smell. Also getting a ton of vanilla and a little bit of like chocolate, and that's about it. It's a very pleasant nose. It's not, because it's only 45% alcohol, 90 proof. It's not hard on the nose. It's not singeing my nose hairs at all. It's a very pleasant, appealing nose. There's not a whole lot there, but what is there is nice. So let's try it. Well, I get initial sweetness, kind of like candy sweetness. It coats the tongue very nicely. After that, I get, it kind of processes into a little bit of the cinnamon red hots. You've ever had those, but it's a very slight flavor of that. Let me try it again. Yeah, it's one of those whiskeys that the initial hit on the palate is velvety and soft and relatively mouth coating, but then it very quickly goes into something different, something a bit more harsh, a bit more acrid. At the very finish, not the very finish, but at the end of the palate, before I swallow, I get a touch of like white pepper, and the finish goes into this place where it's like, it goes from like, it moves from the red hot, cinnamon red hots, into like hay, kind of a harsh kind of feeling there, and flavor, and then it goes into leather almost. So the finish is definitely not the high point of this sip. And try it once more. Yeah, it's kind of what you would expect a $30 bottle of whiskey, of bourbon, to taste like. It is not super special, but it's also not offensive at all. It's a good daily sipper, and I'm sure it would be great. I don't know if I've ever had it in a cocktail, but I'm sure it would be fantastic in a Manhattan or an old fashioned or something like that. As for going and hunting for it and paying big bucks for it, hell no. It's not that kind of bottle. It's one of those things that if you think you want to pay big money for it, at least try it first. It might be your cup of tea. It might be something that you're totally willing to shell out $100 for. I think I actually have seen a few places that are charging like $99.99 for a bottle of Eagle Rare, but don't pay that. It's not a $100 bottle. It's a good $30 bottle. It's a good daily drinker. I actually will start having it in my bar just if I'm feeling like having a sip of something, but I don't want to dig into the fancy stuff, and I don't want to dig into anything that's too high in alcohol content, too high ABV. This is a great option for that. So again, please subscribe right down here, and I will see you next week.